大家好 and welcome to White Gaze.
That's yours.
Where we whites gaze upon the drama,
the looks,
and the language of our newest favorite Chinese television show, Empresses in the Palace, otherwise known as
Zhen Huan Zhuan.
And today we are covering episode 17.
We are chugging along.
And not only that, we are officially off book.
We no longer have Dimmy to help us anymore. So Trenton had to write an outline for us.
Yes, so this episode may feel a little different in the flow because our good Judy, Demi, is no longer writing. And also our newest friend, the Plum Blossom Darling, also didn't update her blog either. So if you're out there, please help us.
Yeah, well, the things that we get from those girls is like some of the phrases and what they mean and the cultural context and the historical context, things that we can't catch because we don't know.
Stupid fucking dinosaur! So what we're gonna need you to do as our listeners and as true 真学家 is we need you to fill in the blanks. Please send us in all your whispers in the palace, all your corrections, or all the little tidbits that we do not fill in because, well, this week, honey, there's gonna be probably a lot.
But I think we still got it.
I think we still got it. And why don't we start with just what happened last week?
In the last episode, we saw Hua Fei stole Car Gui Ren's baby and was giving her sleeping pills.
Right in front of her face. Just snatched that baby, trying to drug the baby, and Car Gui Ren was feeling very despondent, feeling like, when will this torture ever end?
And we also saw that once again, the emperor left Hua Fei in the middle of the night to go take care of Zhen Huan.
The thing is, Zhen Huan's not even trying at this point, and she stays winning.
Well, yeah, she didn't try. She was just like, oh well, he's with somebody else. I'm just gonna have to sit here and suffer through this thunder, and here he comes to save the day.
So romantic. My one true pairing.
We got Anling Rong got fucked
and promoted.
And Jade is pissed off.
Jade is not happy, but she was really happy that she did get the holographic Vera Wang gown.
And that is where we start this episode. She is walking through the garden, and she's like, yeah, this came from the
Alexander McQueen Couture Atelier.
The water beads right off of it. So if it's raining out here, we're not even going to get wet.
And look, I'm sparkling. It's stoned. And she says to her maid, but tell me the truth, who's prettier, me or Anling Rong?
Don't do it.
And the maid is like, well, the dresses are exactly the same,
so I dare not compare thee. But you have earrings on, and so yours is just a little bit more bold.
That brings you out. And Jade goes further to say she's literally on one, and I need her to fucking calm down.
She's like, well, yeah, she's poor, she doesn't have earrings.
Right. And so I'm naturally better than her anyway. I can't believe they've wasted Vera Wang gowns on her. Meanwhile, in the background...
Wait, you said that her maid, does Jade have a maid? The maids have maids?
No.
Who was that girl?
A girl?
Okay.
Who is she? Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Wait, what is that?
It's from the Get Me Bodied music video.
Yeah.
Who's that? Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Who is it?
So, Zhen Huijia, if you know who she is, please send us who her name is. Because in the background, now luckily Anling Rong doesn't overhear this conversation, but we do sort of pan up to her at the top of the hill.
Her and her maid are there, and
Right.
she's like, her maid's like, wait, isn't that the gown that you gave to Zhen Huan? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, you were generous enough to give her 2, and she's just gonna give it away to her maid.
Even if she didn't want to wear it, why would she give it to a maid?
Yeah.
And what does that say about what she thinks about you? And I'm on her side. If I was her, I'd be pissed. I gave you a very expensive garment, and you're just going to give it to your maid? Not like maids don't deserve expensive garments, but,
Yeah, but that's from an outsider point of view. We are on the inside, and we know that she got it because she wanted Jade to calm the fuck down. so she stops being so mean to anything wrong.
Unfortunately, Zhen Huan is very smart about a lot of things, but one thing that she's dumb as fuck about is, like, she's enabling her at this point.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, oh, if I act like a cunt, I get a Vera Wang gown. Incredible. I'll do it more. Because she's up to some bullshit this episode, let me tell you.
Next, in the next scene, we see Zhen Huan sitting at the table doing
Girly things.
And Jade comes in with some desserts, and she's like, "Ooh, I got this this nice cassava starch to make these whatever she made with them, some kind of dessert, some kind of pudding or brownie or something."
Interesting. We'll come back to this one.
Yeah, well, it was just a short little scene, and that's why they had to introduce that to us. But we cut to the next scene, and we see the Empress and Zhen Huan are chatting it up, and enter the cat.
I love this little cat because guess what? She's fucking ugly. This is a not cute cat. It's just a ball of fur. No one has brushed her. She's been just like wandering the summer palace for probably the last year, and now she's come inside.
Well, because it was Chi Fei's cat.
It was Chi Fei's cat that had been given to the third prince, but the minute the Empress saw her, the Empress was like, oh, Pine Nut, she's mine now.
Yeah, Pine Nut. Her name is Pine Nut.
But the Empress was initially complimenting Zhen Huan by saying, by the way, the Emperor has typically worked 12-hour days, but since An Changzai is in the building, he's been able to really relax.
So, but the Empress sees that Zhen Huan is bothered, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot that you were afraid of cats, and so we'll get rid of her."
Except for episode 2.
Except for, well, she couldn't be afraid of cats in episode 2 because she needed to get into the palace, so her sister didn't have to.
Okay. So they send the kitty away, and the Empress says, you know what, I do have to look after that cat because any animal might bite, no matter how tame it is.
And there's something going on here because they're like staring at each other, but like I don't know what.
Zhen Huan has her thinking face on. She's like, "Is this about me?"
She's trying to. The Empress is trying to say something.
Because she says, "Well, you've obviously trained this cat. It must be very well behaved." And the Empress looks at her and says, "Is that so?"
Big boobs. What?
Yeah, I don't know what she's trying to say.
Child. Anyway, so.
I don't either, but I think they're either talking about Zhen Huan or Enling Rong. One of them is the Empress and one of them is the cat. And something about you have to be, like, wary of how close you are because you don't know what will bite you.
Well, maybe that's what she's saying about anything wrong. She's like, you need to watch out for her.
Maybe.
Because you may have created a monster.
Maybe. But she does go back to a nice topic because she says, oh, by the way, tonight is the Qixi party, so don't be late.
That is like Valentine's Day, yeah?
Yes. And actually, at time of recording, Qixi is actually on Thursday.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Do you have any plans? You've got some time to make plans.
No, I have a fleshlight.
Well, okay. Anyways, we are at the party, and I have to say, the girls are all serving, but especially the Empress.
Besides the Empress, though, I think that my favorite was Car Gui Ren.
She was also
in
serving.
that bright pink.
Yeah. And Anling Rong is in the front row now.
Yeah, because she's a Changzai.
Yeah, she's a Changzai. She gets to sit in the front row. She got majorly upgraded. Mm-hmm. Because during the birthday party, she was sat in the back.
Yeah.
And she stands up. She toasts to the Emperor and the Empress. Very polite. She's really riding high on her new it girl status.
What does she comment about?
She says something like,
oh wow, you're not gonna toast to any of the other girls?
No, she was like, oh wow, you're so like you're so well behaved. Like us older concubines, we didn't toast you yet. Sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah. But the Emperor What does he say? What does the emperor say?
So, the emperor is like, oh, that's okay, Chi Fei. By the way, do you want to bring me your grapes? And she says, oh, yeah, sure, but wait a minute. You already have grapes. And they're this. Why do you want... You have grapes. You want me to bring you my grapes? And he's like, yeah, those grapes are expensive, and if you're not going to shut up and fucking eat them, I might as well.
Yes.
I was gagged. I was like, oh, fuck. He really does not like her.
No.
That's sad to me.
And, like, she has a son.
Yeah.
She should probably be more favored than Car Gui Ren.
But she does. He doesn't like that son either.
Yeah. And then Anling Rong makes a toast to Hua Fei.
Yes. Because Hua Fei was trying to dig at Chi Fei.
But Hua Fei is very, reluctant to, accept the toast. She sits
Yeah.
there for a second, and she rolls her eyes, and she still sits there for a second, and then she just, chugs her shot. And then she has a sour look on her face.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, she's gonna get toasted again.
And then the Empress is like, wow, you have such a big heart.
Right, which I'm like, oh, she's gotta be lying. Like, she is just fucking with her at this point.
And then we see Zhen Huan, and she's like, she whispers into Jade's ear, she's like, I'm kind of drunk, I want to go outside. And Jade's like, okay, maybe Jinxi can take you.
Right, I'm really busy in here for some reason.
You in danger, girl.
What did she say she was busy about?
Girl, this is what I'm talking to you about. I made this outline, and the things were starting to connect.
Well, I thought she was staying in there because she
What
wanted
if
to just be with the Emperor.
What if she knew that this was the Well, that's what I thought initially too, because we know that she loves to just be stared at by the Emperor, trying to get his attention. She wants to get dick down pretty hard. But what if she knew that this was the moment that they were going to try to frame Zhen Huan?
I'm thinking that
Because
maybe
Car Gui Ren caught her praying in the garden that one time.
Oh, yes. Okay. Maybe. Well, because I was thinking that maybe...
And why did she pick up the cassava starch? Zhen Huan didn't even ask for it.
Yeah.
She just said, oh, I thought I'd pick this up for you.
Oh, my God.
Jade is out here wildin'. And I don't know what Car Gui Ren has maybe told her, but that's just... There's something. There's something.
Okay, let me make a less bold allegation. Maybe there was some chitty chatties going on that we didn't see, and Jade maybe revealed that she had got the starch that morning, and then that's when they were like, "Oh, there's our go."
Because who was the maid that has the big mouth? Was that Jade or is that Vermilion?
Whenever they first got to the palace and they shot the birds down,
Yeah.
I think it was Vermilion.
Okay. Well, they're all a bunch of chatty Cathys, so it could be right. She could have maybe just accidentally let it slip. But I'm just saying there's layers.
Yeah, I wasn't putting all that together, but now it kind of makes sense. So we see Zhen Huan and Jinxi outside, and they're talking about the history of the Tonghua Tai. What is Tonghua?
Tonghua Tai is just like the tong blossoms. It's like the type of flower.
That's what I was trying to get at, is what type of flower is it? I don't know what Tonghua is.
See, this is where Demi would really be helping us out.
The old emperor loved it because another concubine, Hua Fei, but the Empress Dowager hated it and let it get messy, the temple.
Right. Which, again, I think if we had some, behind-the-scenes info, we could maybe get into, exactly what this is. But what I'm assuming it was
those flowers that she saw?
So the previous Emperor Kangxi, he had many wives or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the concubines loved this garden. But one of his other concubines, who is actually the Emperor's mother now, hated it. So when that emperor died and her son became the emperor, she was like, I hate that garden, get it away.
Yeah,
because
so they haven't done anything with that.
That concubine that used to love that garden is now like sent away to be a monk.
Yeah.
And Zhen Huan says a very beautiful line. She says, even the most beautiful love could only last as long as the floating clouds.
再美再好的情事，也不过浮云一瞬间。
I don't want to hear that.
She's in her sad place. Salong is with so many other girls, and she's just trying to accept that maybe her time has passed.
Yeah.
And they had such a great love, and now it's floated away.
Let's take a break. Oh, I love this pink guava drink.
Introducing the new guava green tea frozen smoothie from Dian Dian. One taste will transport you back to all of the tropical shores of all of the destinations that you would like to visit, but you cannot because of travel restrictions. Tasting of guava and green tea, you can imagine yourselves frolicking between the waves. Head on down to Dian Dian now.
You can buy this drink between the months of June and July, so it is no longer available.
We are back, and we are ready to explore a little more of the Tonghua Tai.
Yeah, so Zhen Huan goes up in there and she sees a little flower, which we noticed was plastic.
Yeah, definitely a prop flower that they have glued to the set piece. But it's kind of fierce.
Yeah, it's cute. It's a
little blue flower.
What flower did they say it was? A morning glory.
She calls it a morning glory, which when I go to the Thai restaurant does not look like that.
What do you mean?
So when you go to a Thai restaurant, they have a dish that's called morning glory in English, but in Chinese, it's called kong xin cai. It's like water spinach.
Well, morning glory is a flower.
Work.
Matt texts me to confirm.
Oh, okay. We have to check in with our botanist. But suddenly, as she is massaging this plastic flower, she hears a voice. And she turns around and she says,
Who is
Shay?
that?
And who is it but the 17th prince?
And he's like, how come every time I see you, you are just like, who's talking to me?
And she's like, how come every time you come and talk to me, you're coming at me from behind?
We moved apartments, and the girl who is telling us that we need our husband right now has the mousiest little voice.
Somehow even more at a worse vibration for my brain to process than ever before. She sounds a little bit like Songjer.
Yeah, but also like, why do you need to continue to tell us after all these months, bitch? We know we need to get tested. We know, and we know that it's 6:00 and that it's open now.
Yeah,
It's been like that every day.
I do need to get tested though. So, shout out to Songjer downstairs. Thank you. But they kind of keep going back and forth, and I've always sensed a flirtatious energy between them.
Yeah. And also, like, in the opening credits, there's lots of scenes with them, too.
So this will not be the last.
No.
Well, he says that the flower is actually called the face of the eventide because it blooms at night, but it wilts before dawn. So to me, this is screaming metaphor. The literary devices are jumping out at me. These two are meeting by moonlight, just like the flower, and it can only bloom at night and dies before the morning, where they have to go back to their real lives and their real jobs as prince and concubine. Bitch, I think they're gonna have an affair.
I don't know.
He's young. He's hot. All the girls have dreamt about him since their maiden days.
He's young, he's hung, and he clearly does not want to be stung.
Come on, all of God's greener. But before that they can develop this affair too far, we do jump back to the party where the emperor's like, wait, where's Zhen Huan? Where'd she go?
Did they say anything about her? Yeah, they just said that that she was drunk and she needed to step out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Jade says.
Jade says that she's in the next room, which according to the Magpie Bridge Brigade says that it means powdering her nose.
Oh, she's powdering her nose, yes.
But then Anling Rong, who does not get in on these types of like things, is just like, oh yeah, she's a lightweight. That girl, she gets drunk so fast.
She can't handle it like you can.
Yeah. So then we do cut back to Zhen Huan and the prince. And by the way, they're like on this like lovely moonlit terrace. And he's like, why didn't you go to the party? And she's like, it's better to look at the moon on this night of love than to waste it with clinking goblets.
Lord. And so he's like, oh, I think you're jealous because you introduced the emperor and ending wrong, and now you're jealous. And,
I'm not.
And she's like, no, I'm not. But you must get so many girls.
Right. She flips it back on him. She's like, oh, but I've heard about your reputation. I'm sure lots of girls want you, don't they?
And he's like, yes, but I don't want that. I want to make one girl happy.
Romantic music.
He's glad that he's not the emperor with too many responsibilities. And he says that true love can't be found in the palace. And if so, it must be hidden.
帝王少有情爱，若有，也是不能见光、不被世人所接受的事情。就像是那夕颜，只开一夜的花。
Again, just like the flower. It can only be at night where no one can see it.
And then he apologizes for being drunk at their last encounter, because he reveals that it was also the anniversary of his mother's entrance into the harem.
Which, his mother has died, is that right?
I believe so.
Okay.
And then that is Zhen Huan's cue. She's like, oh shit, okay, bye.
Well, not before she says, I don't know what you're talking about.
She's like, what? I don't remember seeing you. And he's like, I also forgot.
Oh, right. What am I talking about? I have no idea what I said.
Yeah.
So again, I think there's some secrets happening here. There's some chemistry. I see some fireworks.
I think that builds it up to where it's like, oh, we can meet in secret if we never talk about it. Girl. I think that's what that opened the door to.
I'm just saying, Zhen Huan, be careful.
Right. So we're back at the party. Zhen Huan comes in and the emperor is like, where have you been? She was like, I saw a flower and I got distracted.
I just started thinking when I saw this flower. It was so beautiful. And he's like, well, what are you talking about? What flower? She says, I believe it's called the face of the eventide. He's like, I've never heard of that in my life. Which I wonder if this is an important detail.
Yeah.
Because she didn't call it that.
The prince called it that.
The prince did.
Yeah. And he's like, well, I'll send you some crepe myrtles. Car Gui Ren.
What the fuck is a crepe myrtle?
It's like a...
I thought that was a Magpie Bridge Brigade translation, and...
No, Matt can also confirm. I've heard this a lot from Matt. It's like maybe a bush or a flower or a tree or something. It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Okay. It could be a tree, a flower, a mushroom, a shrub. It could be anything that grows on the earth could be a crepe myrtle.
I remember him having them in his yard or something. I don't remember. Okay. But this name is familiar.
Okay.
Maybe it is a flower. Maybe I heard it at the flower shop. I don't know.
Okay. Well, whatever this thing that grows, it is in season, and he sent over a couple to Zhen Huan's home.
I think it's the trees. The little maybe a little tree or a little shrub.
or maybe like a patch of grass.
Or maybe a flower or...
What other types of plants are there that it could be?
Like a tree or a shrub or a flower. It's
No.
one of those.
Now, Hua Fei obviously is not very happy about this, and we can see it on her face. We sort of like cut to her. But Car Gui Ren jumps in and is like, I just think it's so romantic how the emperor treats you so differently than the rest of us, Zhen Huan. That it is just so inspiring how much he loves you and ignores the rest of us. And Zhen Huan like looks over at her and says, "What the fuck?" He doesn't. Shut the fuck up. Because, you know, that's like the theme of the show, is that the most loved person suffers the most. The 17th prince's mother suffered the most because she was the favorite. Apparently, this girl who had the garden that got abandoned, she was loved the most for a little while and now is sent away to be a monk.
Well, it's like because all the jealousies.
Right. And it's like, that's why, unfortunately, for emperors, their love is dangerous. Because if you like somebody too much, it makes all the other girls want to kill you.
Evie used to always say, jealousy is a disease. Get well soon, bitch.
Well, Nicki Minaj famously said, jealousy is a disease, die slow.
Maybe that's what Evie was saying, because Evie's a barb.
Oh, okay. Now, this drama can't go too far because suddenly a maid comes in and whispers in her ear.
Wen Yi is sick.
And they're like, how is she still sick? She's a baby, but like, this is getting too much.
I feel like all of this was just so... How is Hua Fei not the first suspect? Because she is in charge of the baby right now. Because that's like, whenever... Take John Benet Ramsey. Bitch is dead.
Uh-huh.
We look at the mother first.
That's number one, yeah. But I do think her dad did it.
Well, of course. But
we
we look at the parents. We look at the caretakers. We look at the caretakers.
Child Protective Services would definitely come in for Hua Fei first.
Exactly, because she wasn't sick whenever she was at
her
mom's house.
That's like number one.
And then she goes to Hua Fei's for a week, and then is just all of a sudden just throwing up all over the place.
But you know what? Hua Fei pops right up and she says, oh no, she's sick again? It must be because of this crazy heat. And I remember when she was younger, she was also really sick too. It has nothing to do with me, but I can't wait to run off and help her right now.
But why y'all got to lie?
And then we're leaving the party.
The party's over. Do you think, now I didn't catch this, is the party over because of this?
I don't know. I don't think there was really any clarification about that.
Okay.
But they're leaving, and Zhen Huan and Anling Rong are talking about how there was previous concubines that used their kids as political weapons. And they're like, do you think that's what Car Gui Ren is doing right now? That they're like making the kids sick to...
Well, Anling Rong is very naive, and she is shocked to hear that Zhen Huan is insinuating this. But Zhen Huan is a lot more like you, where she's like, yeah, I definitely think that Hua Fei is fucking with the baby just to get more attention from the emperor. Before, I used to love people and I used to try to see the best in all humans, but in the palace, like, humanity is distorted.
我总以为人性本善，可入宫之后所见所闻，天性亦可扭曲。我倒不能不这样恶意揣测了。
And when we see them walk off, we also get a very sour look from Jade.
See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
See what I mean?
And then we cut to our girl, Duan Fei. And she's coughing because she's sick. But she reveals that Hua Fei has... maybe like poisoned her in the past.
Yes. Well, because she sees that the girls are like leaving the party and she says something about like, I have no more love in my heart, only hate. And so I was like, oh, bitch. Oh, something's about to go down. And then she says something about like, the Chinese says Honghua, which is red flower, but then Magpie Bridge Brigade said it was safflower.
Safflower?
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
I don't know.
Okay.
But anyways, apparently back in the day, Hua Fei poured this boiling shit in her mouth.
And she can still taste it.
So do you think that's why she's so like sick and fucked up to this day?
Yes. She did it to Duan Fei. She did it to Zhen Huan. She was possibly doing it to Enling Wrong, or not Enling Wrong, to Shen Mei Zhuang, and she's doing it to the fucking baby.
I guess I'm just so confused. If she is like out here with this reputation, why has the emperor like not figured this out yet?
She doesn't have this. Well, I guess she does.
Everybody
have this reputation.
knows.
Because she's not actually doing it.
So anyways, she's like, I'm going to get my revenge. The time has come, and I know exactly who is going to help. Because she says, I don't just need an opportunity to get my revenge. I need a person. And I've got just the girl.
And we're thinking that it's Zhen Huan.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be. And so why don't we take a break? Think about what revenge we can get.
Mm-hmm.
Hi there, it's Trenty from the world-famous White Gaze podcast. And I'm here to ask you, are you feeling sad?
Are you suffering from crippling anxiety?
Have you ever been trapped outside of a foreign country for an uncomfortable amount of time while you wait on your visa?
I'm not comfortable with sharing my trauma on the pod.
Well, either way, BetterHelp is there for you. BetterHelp is an online therapy service for people who can afford it. You can access them at betterhelp.com.
Period. There is no promo code because we are not actually sponsored by BetterHelp. But if you subscribe to our podcast, then we can use that money to pay for the services that we so desperately need.
We thank you in advance. Oh my god, girl. Where did you get that confident and sexy glow? I've never seen you like this before.
I just left my class at Zero Gravity Pole Dance.
Zero gravity pole dance? Girl, that's just you on a Saturday night.
Now, I know you've seen me at the club, and I'm just showing off what I have learned at Zero Gravity. They offer an inclusive environment, and they also offer a variety of classes for different levels. I started off at the virgin level, and I've worked my way up. And that's what I've been showing off at the club.
I'm gonna get me a man's this way.
I know, but now that we have been locked in the house for a long time, it has become a little bit difficult. But luckily, Zero Gravity offers in-person and online classes.
Amazing! So you're saying that I can become the pole dancing vixen goddess of my dreams right from the comfort of my own home?
Absolutely, especially with Zero Gravity Pole Dance.
Amazing. And guess what? If you use discount code WHITEGAZE, you can get up to 0% off your first booking.
So that's code WHITEGAZE for 0% off your first booking at Zero Gravity Pole Dance.
I'll see you on the pole.
Okay, so it's the next day, and we are in the baby room. Everyone is waiting on the baby, who is still sick and crying.
Inexplicably.
The emperor is shaking the little rattle.
The little drum.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm like, if a baby is crying, why are you making more noise?
Well, because have you ever seen those little drums?
I mean,
they're loud.
Yeah.
And it's just right in the little baby's face. But we have seen that the baby likes it in the past.
Yeah. But the baby won't shut up. They're just asking the doctor who's there, but he's like, oh, these doctors are useless.
Hua Fei says that she's going to make some water chestnut porridge for the baby. And does anybody else want some? Everybody can have some water chestnut porridge.
And the emperor's like, yeah, I'm hungry. That sounds about right.
But then the baby vomits again. And so the doctor's like, well, maybe there's something in the food.
Right. And, okay, so if we do rewind, we know that we know that Car Gui Ren and we know that the nursemaids all know that Hua Fei is drugging the kid.
Yeah.
So when this whole shit is about to go down, I mean, I guess maybe they're worried that they're gonna die too, but like, it just seems so simple for them to be like, by the way, the baby's vomiting again because you're drugging the baby. By the way, everybody, like, can we not drug the baby now?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's almost as if they're in on this cover up too.
Who?
Which is crazy. The nursemaids.
They are. They said she said if you say anything, I will cut your head off.
But she can't cut their heads off if her head is cut off.
Well,
I don't want that to happen to Hua Fei at all.
It's not gonna, like, even if they're all in there together and they can all vouch for it, I don't think that they're going to, like, I don't think the Emperor would just, like, be like, oh, we'll just buy that Hua Fei did it.
Fine.
Just like he didn't buy that Zhen Huan did it.
Right.
Even though she didn't.
So the doctor is really nervous. I think he's worried that the Emperor is gonna like be mad at him and kill him for not like doing a good enough job to heal the baby.
So he's like, let me taste all the food.
So he was like, I think it has something to do with her intestinal tract or her digestive system in some way. So it would be best if I could like find the food that she just ate and see if there's something wrong with that. So we get a very tense like minute where we just see him like tasting all the different bowls of food. This one's salty. This one's sweet. This one is just water, I think, in a bowl.
It looked like just water in a bowl. And he spits it out into the little spittoon.
Well, that's when Xiaoxiazi comes in.
Yeah.
So when the initial doctor does his test, he was like, I'm not quite sure, but this water chestnut porridge, I think there's something wrong in there.
Doesn't taste right.
So they're like, let's get the eunuch, because I guess the eunuchs taste test all the food.
Yeah, they were like, let's get him and figure out, yeah.
So then he comes in again, and he does the same thing, where he tries out all the different foods to be like, this one's salty, this one's sweet, oh, you know what? I taste cassava starch.
He's like, cassava starch, it's okay, but it will kill a baby.
Right. It's like, it's fine. It looks exactly like water chestnut porridge flour.
And then Hua Fei's like, oh my god, who would do such a thing?
Ha! Ha! I'm acting.
Investigation. Immediately.
Well, because at first the Emperor's like, I have the dumbest cooks in the Imperial kitchen. And Hua Fei was like, no, it's not them. I'm sure it must be an evil plot. So she's like, we're gonna check the books to see who got cassava starch, and we're not gonna stop until each person is found. And she looks over at Zhen Huan, who, to me, I think Zhen Huan should be panicking a little more.
She was very calm.
She was so calm. She was like, I wonder who got cassava starch this week.
You stupid fucking dinosaur!
She was like, wow, this is crazy.
Then we get a little cut to Duan Fei again.
Yes.
And her medicine is late because of the investigation, so she decides to go visit...
The princess.
Who, the prince? Oh, Wen Yi.
Yeah. Because she was like, wait, why is my medicine late? And she's like, oh, sorry, there was like this big hole. The princess keeps vomiting. They're like investigating who would do it. And turns out they think, something's amiss. And then she's like, ooh, this sounds good. I'm going to go check it out.
Then her maid asks, why do we need to get involved when you've secluded yourself for all these years? And she replies, the gust of wind never spares a tree in seclusion.
只可惜树欲静而风不止.
Yes. Because we found out at the Legendary Legend Ball that she is in the palace, but she like does not talk to anybody. She just stays in her home to avoid all the stuff. And when they were doing the talent extravaganza, before she had the chance to like do her talent, she just left because she's like, they're tacky and I hate them. But now she's actually throwing her hat in the ring.
Because she thinks that she's going to get some sort of redemption out of this.
Well, and I think she's like, this could be my moment.
Yeah.
But I think this poem is, or not this poem, but like this quote from Duan Fei is actually like really interesting. Because
you could have 30 trees over here and one tree over here, and the wind's going to hit them both.
Right. And not only that, what happens to the tree by itself? It gets blown over.
Yeah, because
But
all these have the support.
they have
roots.
to support each other, and they're all blocking the wind equally from each other. So I feel like maybe she's like, I can't be spared from the whims of the palace, so I might as well. So we cut to the most dramatic courtroom series of the year. Witnesses keep getting called. Accusations are thrown.
This is All Stars 8, Zhen Huan Justice.
Zhen Huan Justice. The plaintiff, Hua Fei, is accusing Zhen Huan of poisoning the soup with cassava starch because turns out it's literally just her, translation, only Jade, who got the cassava starch in the first place.
Well, Monty was pointing out that they shouldn't just look for the last week. They should look whoever's gotten cassava starch ever, because then they'll probably find out that maybe Hua Fei had it.
But it just seems that cassava starch is like they said, it's like a fine ingredient for adults. So I think if they did look like that, like, yeah, tons of people have it.
Yeah.
Everybody has it. It's like, do you know that this chemical compound has been at every school shooting? And it's involved in the homes of every domestic murder. And it was present on board the flight on 9/11. Dihydrogen monoxide.
Big boobs. What? Child. Anyway, so.
It's water.
I get it.
Oh, okay. But so it must be just like a very common thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But the emperor is really not convinced. He doesn't want her to be guilty at all.
He's like, well, just because she has starch does not mean that she did it.
Right, exactly. It could have anybody. And so then Hua Fei goes,
And then enter the two maids.
I saw Goody Proctor with the devil.
What is that from?
The Crucible.
Yes.
And they come in with accusations. They're like, we saw Zhen Huan sneak out of the party. She snuck in with a devilish smile.
Into the cooling
palace.
The cooling palace.
Where the baby was. And Hua Fei says, yeah, all my maids were with me. I guess there was nobody there to look after the baby food. And it's like, okay, then that's still your fault.
Yeah. You should have had somebody there.
Right.
Because where was Wen Yi?
I don't know. I
She was
didn't
at
see
the
her.
palace.
I don't think she was in that palace. That would be really bad neglect if they just left the baby at the party while mommy's getting drunk.
Well, they would have somebody else with her, obviously.
Yeah, true. And so Hua Fei is like, oh my god, you're so heartless. I can't believe these two have caught you in the act. Because the emperor says, did you see this with your own eyes?
She's like, yes, I saw it with my own eyes.
Yes, I saw it with my own eyes. And so Hua Fei calls her heartless. Car Gui Ren is like, oh my god, why do you hate me so much? Is it because of that thing that I did to you and the emperor that other day?
And then Zhen Huan's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. There was no tension between me and the emperor. You must have done something that you're not telling us about.
Right. Were you trying to create tension? Is that what you're saying? Were you trying something? Because we're good. Me and Salang, we do it. Mm-hmm. And so the Empress is like, Car Gui Ren, you gotta cool yourself off. You can't just be throwing around accusations. We don't even have an investigation. And then Hua Fei says, well, I guess we don't need an investigation because the Emperor loves her pussy too much.
Did I
Isn't that right?
Did I lie? Did I fucking lie?
And you loved this when we were watching it. Because the Empress goes...
What did he say?
The Empress is like, watch your fucking mouth when you speak
Yes,
to me.
yeah. Yes.
华妃，你这样说话是跟本宫该有的理智吗？
She did. She was like, hold on, you can't talk to me like that. I don't know who the fuck you think you are.
No. And even the Emperor's like, yeah, bitch, slow down.
Yeah. You can't talk to her like that.
And not like that.
She's in charge.
And so the so Hua Fei is like, all I'm saying is that I'm just feeling really sad for Car Gui Ren. I'm so sorry to have overstepped, but like, what are we gonna do about her, this murdering bitch? Mm-hmm. And the Emperor really does not want this to be true. So the Emperor's like, can you please just tell me one person you saw when you left the party?
He's like, well, I was with Jingxi. And then Hua Fei's like, nope, she's a maid. We can't trust her.
Nope. And so the Emperor's like, please, please, Zhen Huan, just say somebody. Give me a name.
But Hua Fei is saying, we can't trust her because she's a maid. Uh-huh. But we're going to take these two maids' words.
I guess because there's two of them.
I guess.
But...
she's like, nope, I didn't see anybody.
And he's like, are you sure? Because if you didn't, I'm going to have to put you in jail.
She's like, nope, I didn't see anybody. And he's like, well, fine. Solitary confinement for you.
Damn. And he's not happy about this. Mm-mm. It's not like with Shen Meizhuang where he was like mad and like, yes, I'm going to do this punishment. He's like, God damn it, do I got to do this?
Well, because he knows she didn't do it.
I guess he is very skeptical.
Yeah. But then Duan Fei walks in, and she's like, "No, she was with me. We was kicking it. She was drunk, and we were kicking it."
Again, it's very Maleficent energy. It's like, "Oh, hello, I've arrived."
Yes.
We were just talking about Buddhism and shit. Isn't that right, Zhen Huan? And Zhen Huan was like, yeah, we did. We did do that. We did do that.
And they're like, well, why did you not say that you saw her?
And she was like, well, she was not supposed to be outside.
Well, before they answer that question, Duan Fei keeps going, buying some time for her to think.
Yes, she is letting Zhen Huan think of an excuse. And Zhen Huan is like, oh, well, she promised me to secrecy because she was not supposed to be outside because she is very sick, as you can see.
So I promised her I wouldn't tell anybody.
Right. And I knew that your majesties, the Emperor and the Empress, you guys would like come to a fair conclusion. So I didn't think it was bad to not tell you.
But then we have the maid's allegations. And so we're trying to figure that out.
Because Hua Fei was like, I smell a cover-up. She's like, I think you're just coming in here to cover up for a murderer. Why would you do that, Duan Fei? And Duan Fei goes, I've only seen this bitch twice in my life.
I saw her at Wenyi's birthday.
And that night.
And last night.
Why would I be putting myself out there and lying for her?
For some girl I don't know.
Right.
What was your name again? Oh, Wang Gui Ren. Okay.
Great. Good. Nice to meet you. But if you're so concerned with the truth, then why don't we get your lying ass maids back in here? We can ask them again.
Let's ask them. And then they come in and they're like, well, I saw her walk towards the palace, but I cannot confirm if she walked in or not.
And the Empress is like, oh, really? And what about you? What are you going to change your mind too? And
she's like, well, the only thing I said is I saw her with Jingxi. That's all I said.
And she says, all right, bitches, slap yourselves 80 times.
To make an example for everybody.
Don't ever do that again. But I thought this was great end to the courtroom because the Emperor literally walks over to Zhen Huan and picks her up and says, you need to go rest. I'll send a doctor to look after you. I'm sorry, like, this has happened to you. And she was like, whew.
Right? Fuck the baby.
Right. Right, like, we know that the baby has been poisoned, but it's like, well, it's not Zhen Huan, so who cares? And so they're outside, they are walking home, and Duan Fei's, like, carriage catches up with her. And Duan Fei pulls Zhen Huan aside to just give a little chat. And she's like, I could protect you this time, but I can't protect you all the time.
I'm not always going to be there.
And she alludes to, I think, the future, because Zhen Huan is like, I didn't deserve you doing that. Like, thank you so much. And she's like, I have my reasons. I won't tell you what they are yet.
But I have them.
And it's best that we don't talk.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm glad we're friends, but don't come and visit me.
Well, because they need to keep, well, because that was what kind of solidified the story. They gotta say, like, oh, no, we're not friends.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Why would I help her if we're not friends?
She also gives some good information about Cao Gui Ren's labor, and I guess like due to Wei Yi being in the wrong position, like giving birth was really hard for her.
Was she saying that Cao Gui Ren almost died, or that
Yeah.
the baby almost died?
I think both.
That they both.
I think it's
almost died?
dangerous for everybody involved.
Yeah, and yeah, so she was like, it's that she's very lucky to have the
Yeah.
princess and to even be here.
Is that what the significance was? I didn't know why she was saying this.
I don't know what the significance of it was, but she was
Okay.
just saying that like she's very lucky that this is happening. So yeah. So in the final scene, we are back with Hua Fei, and she is very sad. But Cao Gui Ren comes and she's like, you know what? We're just gonna find a scapegoat.
Right. And the energies are very different. Like Hua Fei is again just like sat staring into the void as she does before like she goes on like her hate-filled rampages. But Cao Gui Ren has like a panicked energy about her.
Yeah.
I think maybe because she knows like Hua Fei is going to avoid it, and she's looking around the room and being like, well, Li Ping is gone and Yu Daying is gone, and I guess it's just me now.
But they're like, they had Zhen Huan as the scapegoat, and that didn't work out. So it's like, how did they plan it on somebody else?
Well, I think they're worried that now the investigation is going to continue. They're going to discover like who actually did put the cassava starch in there, and it's going to come back to be like one of Hua Fei's maids or servants or something. Or Jade.
Don't do it.
I mean, honestly, like if they want to get to Zhen Huan, they should have just said it was Jade, because that would destroy her as well.
Yeah.
But the baby starts crying,
And it's
and
loud
Hua
as
Fei is
hell.
like, get that fucking baby away from me, but bring her back.
Later.
And so Cao Gui Ren has the baby and she takes off with her, and we are hoping that she uses this as an opportunity to
Get out.
get out.
Yeah.
To go.
She needs to go to a shelter for women where they can go to avoid abusive relationships.
The
because
workroom.
She needs to go to the workroom with the Empress, and, you know, like the first scene of the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Asylum!
She does need to seek asylum. She needs to go with those two maids and be like, look, this is what's happening. We could not do this out in the open because Hua Fei threatened to cut our heads off.
Right,
So-
right. And now that we at least have the baby in hand, where we know she can't kill the baby too, we are ready to, like, come out with our story.
So who do you think it's going to fall on?
Well, I do think Jade is more involved than she lets on. And I know that Cao Gui Ren has dirt on her. And if it's not going to be now, I don't know if Cao Gui Ren has much time left to use it.
Yeah.
So unless that was like a red herring from a long time ago that means nothing, then I think now is the moment. But again, we didn't see Shemi Zhuang at all this whole episode.
Again, yeah.
Again.
They've got to bring her back sometime.
Well, when is she going to get out of pussy prison? I'm hoping sooner rather than later, because I don't think she's eating in pussy prison. And I think that her health is going to drive her crazy, especially if nobody is seeing her.
Well, we didn't get any information about if they got to the bottom of her poisoning as well.
Well, there's so many unsolved investigations. It's like, can we go just a day without crimes being committed? So I think the next couple episodes are going to be very dramatic.
Yeah.
Do you think that this affair that's brewing between Zhen Huan and the 17th Prince will continue to blossom?
Yeah, just like I said, you see him a lot in the opening credits, and interactions with them too. So, yeah.
And at least Lady Melodic 2.0, Anling Rong, seems to be in the clear. She's not involved with this at all.
Yeah, she's had enough. Let's leave her alone for a little bit.
Let's let her just be peaceful.
But I guess she is becoming a threat now to Hua Fei, so maybe she will get came for.
Ugh, another investigation. Well, let's take a break, and then when we come back, we can do our looks and our language.
Okay.
Hey, Cam!
Hey, Gio!
Guess what?
What?
We're doing a podcast!
We are doing a podcast, an unofficial Disney podcast.
Yes! Ooh, I love Disney!
And do you know what makes us different from other podcasts?
Yes, we're not two white women drinking wine and talking about true crime.
Well, yeah, but besides that, we're reviewing Disney animated classics without any accreditation.
Oh, yeah, that too. That's right. We're not film critics or mental health professionals.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, but we are adults with opinions about the films that shaped our childhood.
This pod is perfect for Disney lovers from moderate to extreme.
And it's designed for the Disney adult in mind. So take your multivitamin or your Boniva and prepare your cocktail, because Cam and I are ready to walk down memory lane.
And answer the tough questions like, how did Ariel decide which sea creatures are her friends and which ones are underwear?
Oh wait, where does Tarzan get his body waxed?
Right.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna answer all them questions. So tune into Your Bare Necessities, the unofficial, much-needed Disney podcast.
Available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast. Forget about your worries and your strife. You got the...
You don't have to sing Fade It Out. You can just sing and I could fade you. It's an audio medium.
Hey girl, I am at Alimentari right now and the wait is way too long.
You're kidding me. How long are they saying?
They're saying an hour and a half.
Oh, wow. That is a certainly long amount of time. But no worries. Guess what?
What?
I have learned to live and dine like an Italian from the comfort of my own home.
How did you do that?
With the Alimentari Home Cookbook. I'm able to recreate my Alimentari favorites from cover to cover. The book is filled with recipes from risotto al marinara to lombata d'agnello, not to mention the crowd favorite, crostata al limon.
Oh, I love that one.
Exactly. You can pick up this cookbook if you want from any of the Alimentari locations on Anfu-Lu, on Wuding-Lu, on Donghulu, on Kangding-Lu, or from Bar Centrale on Yangping-Lu.
Lovely. Do they tell you how to make a pizza?
Oh, girl, do they tell you how to make a pizza? They tell you how to make a ravioli, spinaci e ricotta. They tell you how to make pizza. They tell you exactly how to cut the little cheeses to look beautiful on the board.
Lovely. I'll grab a bottle of Aperol and I'm on my way.
See you tonight. And we're back, just in time for...
本周心机争宠装.
This is the part of the podcast where we talk about our favorite looks from the episode, what the girls are serving.
And this week, we did get to see some more looks because we had a banquet. And I'm going to just say, it's the Empress in the blue and the gold. It's like a royal navy mixed with like a yellowy gold. And it was so striking to me. So she's my number one this episode.
Okay.
Who's yours?
I will also say her, but I will also say Car Gui Ren in the bright pink. I thought it was really cute.
Well, the Empress just keeps serving. She is Raja. These girls know how to reference. The Empress is the reference.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Empress. I can't wait to see more from you.
Okay.
The queen of all queens. Or no, does that make her the queen of she already done had hers is?
Yes.
Because she has.
All right. She has. She did already done had hers is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that was...
本周心机争宠装.
And now it's time for the language portion. And this time Trenton is going to play... Du Hao Shu.
Oh no. It's a reading challenge.
Yes.
Oh god, I gotta read.
Yeah, so I am going to send you a story. You read the story.
Okay.
It's a very short one. Very short.
Okay.
And this honestly could be very easy for you.
I hope so.
And then there's only 5 comprehension questions.
Now, can I also tell you that the name of this game also kind of comes from a Chinese tongue twister?
Yeah.
Because the 3 characters, Du is read, and then Hao like good.
Good.
书.
Shu.
You say it in 3 orders. So you say 读好书, 读书好.
Shu is book,
And
yeah.
then, yeah. There's a third one that I don't remember how to say it. So it's 读好书, which means like read books.
Read good book.
Right, yeah, read good books. 读书好. Like make sure you read.
Read good books. Read books good.
Mm-hmm. And then I think it's like 好读书. Anyways, that's where it came from. Something like that.
Yeah. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna read a good book.
Okay. All right. Does this one have a title?
It doesn't. This actually comes from like a like an entrance exam.
Oh fuck! For what?
5th grade.
Okay. Am I smarter than a Chinese 5th grader? Okay. How do I get my? Oh, did somebody? I hate when my screen is locked like that. I think I did that, to be honest. Okay, here I go.
Mm-hmm.
张晓明是韩国人，今年10岁了。他有一个哥哥和一个妹妹，哥哥15岁，妹妹8岁。他们都在雅加达上学，他们都会说韩语和英语。张晓明想学汉语。张晓明的爸爸每天开车上班，妈妈不工作。现在张晓明和他的哥哥、妹妹都在家里上网课。他们每天6点半起床，7点40分开始上课，下午2点放学。张晓明的爱好是跑步，周末爸爸妈妈常常带他们去公园跑步。Wow.
It was pretty easy, wasn't it?
I got it.
You know what's going on in there?
I think so.
Okay. What's going on?
Oh, is that question number 1? What is going on?
Oh, do you want to give us a synopsis? Or?
Well, so it's introducing us to this little kid named Zhang Xiaoming, and he is Korean, and this year he is 10 years old. So it's talking about his siblings and his parents and just stuff like that.
Exactly. Honestly, I understood some of this.
There you go.
His brother is 15 and his
Yep.
sister is 10.
No. Ba.
18?
No, just Ba.
Just 8?
Yeah. That's why she's Mei Mei, because she's younger than him.
Oh, okay, yeah. Things like that. But here are the comprehension questions.
Great. Okay.
Read the question and then answer it in Chinese as well.
Okay. So, 第一问题，张晓明是哪国人 ？A. 韩国人 B. 中国人 C. 印尼人 Oh, I don't even know that one. 印尼人 No idea. But he is A. 韩国人
Yes, where is he from? He's Korean.
韩国人
Yeah, he's Korean.
Yes. Okay.
The last one is Indonesia.
Oh, great. 第二问题，张晓明的妹妹几岁了 ？A. 8岁 B. 10岁 C. 15岁 So the correct answer is A. 8岁
Mm-hmm.
She's 8 years old. Okay. 第三，张晓明想学什么语言 ？A. 韩语 B. 英语 C. 汉语 Okay, so the answer is C, Hanyu. But it's very difficult for me to say because Chinese is Hanyu. Korean is Hanyu.
It's the third one. He wants to learn Chinese.
He wants to learn Chinese because he's already Korean. All right. 题色张小明的爸爸每天怎么去上班 A 坐校车 B 骑车 C 开车 So I know he 开车 he drives to work.
Yeah, he drives to work.
Okay. I don't know the 校车 Maybe like, is that school bus?
The
Probably
bus.
school bus.
The bus. So it's bus, bicycle, car.
Okay. And finally, 第五张小明和他的哥哥妹妹每天几点开始上课 Oh fuck, I forgot. A 6点半 I think that's when they wake up. And then B is 7点40分 I'm gonna say that, B.
What time did they start class? At 7:40,
Yeah!
Yeah, so it was pretty easy.
So do I win?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my gosh, I can go to 5th grade?
Right? Yeah.
Yes!
It was pretty easy, but a good practice.
Thank you. Thank you. And listeners, you can totally read me for my pronunciation if I fucked it up. Well, this was a very dramatic episode, and I am nervous for the girls.
I don't really know who I should be nervous for, but I know that I don't think I need to be nervous for Zhen Huan.
I'm nervous for everybody. At all times. I want to go back to, like, getting pushed on the swing in an erotic way. I don't like all these crimes and investigations.
I do.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Actually, it was making my stomach hurt watching it.
Yeah, truly. This is anxiety TV. Well, I think there's only one thing left for us to say.
再见.
If you like White Gaze, we would love for you to leave a review of our podcast, give us 5 stars, and don't forget to subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen from. You can also support us by signing up to be a subscriber by going to anchor.fm/whitegaze/subscribe.
You can follow us at @reverse_cowboy_ and at Officer Trenty, and our White Gaze account is at White Gaze Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Douyin, TikTok, and the Anchor app.
White Gaze is not endorsed by Beijing TV Art Center. It is intended for entertainment purposes only. Zhen Huan Zhuan and all names, audio, pictures, and video clips are all registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respected trademark and/or copyright holders.
White Gaze is a podcast hosted by Weston Swift and Trenton Schneiders. Produced by Trenton Schneiders and Monty Shaw. Sound and audio by Trenton Schneiders. Media by Monty Shaw. Our theme song is White Gaze by Trenton Schneiders and Weston Swift.
I think in future, if we disagree, you can fight me more.
Okay. Well, there was no, fight. I was only saying that because we can't just, have a bunch of pictures of the Empress on our Instagram.
That's true.